What's up, gamers? A lot to talk about this week. Daredevil finale. Also, I didn't talk about the previous episode, so we're going to do that briefly. But first, go check out this little skit of me as Daredevil that I did. I thought it was pretty fun, and people seem to like it. Check it out. Okay, so last episode, we got the return of Bullseye, and there was some pretty great scenes with him. Matt ends up visiting him in prison, and just this another wonderfully acted scene. There's this incredible moment where Matt gets so angry that he just starts slamming Bullseye's head onto the table, and then he goes, "Guard, come quick, this guy's crazy, he just started slamming his head into the table." It's like such a dick move, but it works so well for the character, and you kind of agree with him because he killed Foggy, and that's fucked up. This episode ends at like a gala, fundraising, I don't know, some fancy party thing, and Bullseye shoots Matt in the chest and he dies. And then the next episode he's fine. Turns out he's just shot in the shoulder. And then this leads us into the big old finale. A lot of crazy stuff happens, and also nothing. It's kind of a big, and the fight is just getting started. The war isn't over yet. The games. Let the games begin. Because next season, that's gonna be the season where shit really goes down. So that's kind of where it all ends up. But there is a lot of really cool moments before we get to that point. So Punisher is back, which is really great. Kingpin's just like, fuck it, we're killing everyone, and he sends guys to Matt Murdock's apartment to kill him, and Punisher helps him save the day, and then we get this fun action scene of just Matt and Punisher fighting a whole bunch of corrupt cops that are working for Kingpin. Some of them have like Punisher logos painted on their cop uniforms, and Punisher just like keeps murdering them, and it's fucking awesome. And Matt's like, "No, please stop, don't murder them," and Frank's like, "Nah, I'm gonna kill these fuckers." And it's great. Again, like I could tell the fight has some this fight scene has some cool moments and some cool kills for sure, but the editing kind of feels sloppy, and the geography was like super unclear. It also felt like they I could be wrong, but it felt like they cut down the scene for time, because I feel like the characters like jumped around to different parts of the room, and I'm like, how did they get there? Unless the geography is just that unclear that it was confusing, that the timeline also felt confusing. I don't know why this seems to be the case with this show, where like the action is not very clear on what's happening. There are a few moments that I can tell are cool, but the overall like progression of the scene is like kind of choppy and hard to follow. Weird stuff like that. It's like, why is this? Why can't I just see what is happening? So anyways, turns out Karen called Punisher because she heard that Bullseye was back and was worried about Matt. So now Karen and Punisher and Daredevil all team up, and they gotta team up or whatever, and was all really, really nice to see. It was great to finally get Karen back, and fun to see Punisher and Daredevil reluctantly work together. John Bernthal is so good in this role, and just gets to be a murdering asshole, and it's awesome. Just Punisher killing a bunch of corrupt cops. It's fucking great. There's a sequence where he tracks down where all the bad Kingpin corrupt cops are, and he kills a bunch of them, but then we follow up on the like Punisher fanboy corrupt cop thing that they were setting up earlier in the season, where they don't kill Punisher back, and then they like are like, "Hey, we actually want you to join us. We're big fans of yours," and they all have like Punisher shirts on. Frank's just like, you look up to me, like, as if you understand my, like, point of view and everything. Wow, you're a bunch of fucking clowns. And it's perfect. It's exactly the reaction that I would expect from the character. And this is sort of commenting on like real world stuff as well, where a lot of people, particularly fascists, like to co-opt the Punisher logo, not completely missing any nuance of the character, that he's like kind of not a good person, and like a murderer, and arguably like just a villain. Like he's an anti-hero that goes to that's a true anti-hero, where he's morally arguably just a villain, just a bad guy that kills people, just an asshole. And he's like, wow, you're a bunch of idiot moron clowns. It's perfect. It's the perfect reaction. It's like anyone who idolizes me, like Punisher is saying, anyone who idolizes me is a fool. It's perfect. Like that sequence I thought was great, of course, and of course John Bernthal is just excellent in this role. There was some other stuff that happens. Kingpin, it looked like they wanted to do the part from the original Daredevil where Kingpin decapitates a guy with a car door, but they're like, how do we do that? What if he just ripped a guy's face in half? Is that the same? Not really. It's more graphic. But that was never really the point of the car door thing, but that's a story for another time. So, I don't know. That was pretty fucked up, I guess. Is that make the show mature thematically because some fucked up gore happens? You be the judge in the comments. Yeah, and then, like, Matt is thinking about going in to try to fight all of Kingpin's army of cops and whatever, but him and Karen discover that there's like an elaborate plot to use this part of the city to smuggle illegal drugs and gambling and just various crime into the city, because there's like a loophole and an old piece of legislation that says like this one area of the docks like technically is international waters or something, so the US law doesn't apply there or whatever. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But anyways, Daredevil's he's like, I gotta go in there and fight all of them and beat up Kingpin and stuff. And Karen's like, you just were shot and that's way too many guys. You're just going to get yourself killed. I agree we should stop him, but this is a live and fight another day kind of situation. And then the episode just kind of like ends. We get like what I think is a very cheesy speech from Daredevil being like, we gotta rebel and resist and we can't give up. I know it seems hopeless and it feels like the bad guys have won, but you know, there's still good people in the city and it's worth fighting for, and whatever. The war is just beginning. We'll see you next season. Kingpin's totally taken over the city. He like shuts off all the power in the city and all of New York. And then like all his corrupt cop task force goes around and just starts like killing people, and it's kind of fucked up and scary. I like the scale of it. It was kind of cool. There's a cool visual which I appreciated, where we see like the New York skyline, but it's all dark and you can see all of the stars, like the Milky Way, which I'm like, oh, that actually is a really cool idea to be able to see the stars in New York at night, which is something that you don't ever really see in real life, because New York, it's the city, it's the New York, it's the city that never sleeps. Is it the city that never sleeps, or is that a different city? I don't know, but it's one of the big cities in the world, and there's stuff always going on there. There's no way you can actually see that many stars in New York. Because of all the light pollution. I don't know. I just thought that was a cool visual and helped to sell the scale of everything that was happening. So then Kingpin's like, I'm taking over the city or whatever, and I'm having martial law, there's a curfew, and my guys can kill anyone they want, which cops can already do, but they can do it even more so. They don't have to be careful about it. And he's locked off the city from the rest of the country or whatever. And then it's like, well, it seems like Kingpin's won, but you don't worry because Matt's going to come back next season, and we'll see what happens then. So the episode itself, I thought was fun and had some really cool moments, some great stuff with Punisher. Great to see Karen again, and I've liked every scene with Kingpin and every scene with Daredevil. Like, it's been consistently quality throughout the show, but it definitely, last episode definitely kind of felt like, or the last few episodes definitely kind of felt like I doubt that this is going to wrap up in any meaningful way at the end of the season, which is fine. Like, we know that they're doing another season already, and it seems like we're going to get one relatively soon because I think they're already shooting it. Like, we've never had a season-ending cliffhanger, really, with Daredevil. I guess he died in the end of Defenders or whatever. So they've had some cliffhanger-y stuff, but they still wrapped up like the main arcs for each season. This does not wrap up anything. So it's hard for me to like judge it as a thing because it's not a complete thing. I don't know. I'm a little mixed on it. I do think it is kind of a fun idea to have Kingpin like win this season and that be like the big cliffhanger kind of thing for next season. But and like I'll watch more. Like, I've been consistently entertained by the show. It is a much higher quality than the average Disney Plus stuff. I think it has some cheesy moments. That speech at the end was very like cheesy, and it's very also like you can kind of tell that they were like, obviously there's a lot of Trump parallels with Kingpin. He basically says, I'm gonna make this city great again, and he's like a convicted criminal that just gets voted in because that's what happens to convicted criminals in the US of A, is they get to hold important office positions. They get to be in charge. That's fun. And yeah, like, America feels like it's in a pretty dark place right now. The system is broken and there's no hope. And yeah, like, I don't know what the solution is. And neither does this show. Because they just kind of give a very vague, like, oh, well, there's still good people out there. And if we you know, stand up for what's right and rebel in some kind of way, maybe if we work together, we can figure out how to stop Kingpin and save the day. But they don't like give any notes on how specifically to do that, because it feels a little bit like we're talking to the audience here, where it's like, don't give up on America, like we can still beat the fascists. And how specifically, I'm not sure, but, you know, don't give up hope or whatever. And I don't know. I don't have the answers either, so I can't. I don't know that I can really like fault the Daredevil for that. And this also isn't the like first corny speech about hope in this in this series as a whole. They do that a few times in the original Netflix show as well. So I don't know what I'm saying. I guess it's just like it felt like we were trying to give the episode some kind of sense of finality and purpose, like something happened this season, and it kind of didn't land for me. So what do I think of the show as a whole? I don't know. I liked it. I think I enjoyed every minute I did watching it, but it's kind of hard for me to like judge it as a thing as a whole because it didn't conclude anything. This was a big old teaser cliffhanger. Will things resolve in season 2? I don't know, maybe, or there'll be another cliffhanger of some kind. The original Netflix show had the benefit of actually having like complete stories for each season. So it was, even though there was overarching stuff, and they would have cliffhangers and set certain things up for later. we would still get a complete story that season. And the show was like constructed to do that, so you could kind of like judge where everything was. Like, you felt like you had a good idea of like the quality of the show based on the overall story of the season. I feel like I don't have that, even though the season is over. I liked a lot of the stuff that it did. I'm okay with a slower burn of a show. Most of the show is really just character development and some lawyer stuff, which I really, really like. And these characters are great, and the performances are great. So I like spending time with these characters. I'll probably keep watching more. But is it like a satisfying story to watch as a whole? I don't know, because it doesn't conclude anything. I think I'm also like mixed on the state of the way that they like leave New York and Kingpin being the mayor and all this stuff for the show, because this is now like officially part of the MCU or whatever, which it was originally supposed to be, and then it got like, it went off on its own thing or whatever. Like, okay, like I can't wait for the next Spider-Man movie or whatever, the next MCU thing that takes place in New York, to like completely not acknowledge that time that Kingpin blacked out the city and invoked martial law and had his army of bad guy cops killing people on the street for fun. Remember when that happened? Like, I can't wait for them to not acknowledge any of the events of this in whatever the next Marvel thing is that takes place in New York. Because I think Daredevil even had like a line about like, we gotta build an army, we gotta find like all the people that are willing to stand up for New York and take back our city. It's like, yeah, you know, like Spider-Man and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and all these characters that already live in New York. Just get them together. Will they do that? Probably. I don't know. Probably not. We're building up to Doomsday War or whatever the fuck it's called, which is Marvel like self-admitting that they're out of ideas and they have no idea the direction of the MCU as a whole. So this show has some like big stuff that happens in it that should like play into how the rest of the Marvel universe like reacts, and that's like the fun of having a shared universe. It's one of the things that the Daredevil original show actually did really well in the first season, where like the whole plot was about Kingpin buying up all the real estate that got blown up by the New York Chitauri invasion. We got to see like how people in the Marvel universe that live in on a street level react and have to just kind of move on with their lives after this crazy alien invasion, and they don't even want to talk about it because it's just so insane that they don't know how to comprehend it. It's actually was done really well, but I want to see like that. Actually, I want to see these things like affect each other. I want like the universe to feel lived in and feel like it's going in a direction. I want the stories to have a purpose and an ending, or at least a concluded chapter that you're writing. And without seeing the second season, because it's not out yet, I don't know that we're gonna get any of those things. So I don't know. I enjoyed, again, like I liked the show. I enjoyed every episode of watching it. I liked watching new episodes of Daredevil. And the show is of good quality overall. But like, I don't know that I would recommend it to anyone that hasn't already been invested in these characters. Like, I don't know that there's enough there that's like satisfying as its own thing. Does any of that make sense? I don't know. What do you guys think? Were you satisfied with this finale? Were you kind of pissed? Or are you like me where you're a little bit pissed off that the whole season just kind of built to a cliffhanger? What do you think will happen next? Because I think there could be some fun ideas. I like the idea of a like police state controlled New York controlled by the Kingpin. That's a cool concept for a Marvel New York that would be interesting to explore with other characters as well. But anytime Marvel gets something right in the last few years, like this show, I think it's by accident. So I'm not confident that means anything going forward outside of when we get to season 2 of this show. So I don't know. What do you think? Is this a good show? Is this a good show, or are the actors just good at playing these characters? Let me know in the comments. But that's, I think, it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will maybe be back at some point. I was kind of thinking about. I'm rewatching the original Daredevil now, and I was kind of thinking about doing more videos talking about each of the seasons of the original Daredevil, because I really like that show and I want to talk about it more. So I might do that at some point. But subscribe and all those things. Check out the little skit I did about that diner scene from the first episode of Born Again, and leave a comment or whatever. Engage with the video for the sake of the algorithm. That's it for today. Bye bye.